Okay, hi everyone, this is GreenPanda here and welcome back to another video. This is the first video of mine where I'm going to be reviewing some Arteza pencils. I've never done a review before, so bear with me because I haven't made a script for this. I'm just basically speaking my own thoughts. And just to let you know, I've never used pencils before. I don't really like pencils, and the only interaction I've had with a pencil was in school, and for some reason the pencils did this thing where it would be like a pink pencil with pink lead, and yet when you would write with it, it looked like graphite. And then when you did try to use pencil, nothing was going on the paper, and the paper would just be engraved as if you were just like carving the pencil into the paper. So I'd never really had much good experience with pencils to begin with, and the only pencils I've used have been watercolors, which they're great, but they're not really opaque. So I decided I should probably buy some pencils because there's a technique online where you can do some watercolor paper and flowers. You could do some watercolor flowers, and if you use pencil on top, it'll have like a very thin detailed colored line, and I was like, I want to do that. But when I used watercolor, it came out as like very grainy, thick or anything, and it would just get like little bits of like lead shrapnel everywhere. Or because it's watercolor, it's not as tough, and it's like very soft and everything, because you're not supposed to use watercolor for anything like that. You just like the shade stuff, you use water and that's it. Like that's the whole point of watercolor pencils. So this was the first time I was using like proper official pencils, and yeah, I pretty much tried them out before in Inktober. I was doing like this gender bent Chucky and Pennywise picture, and I ended up not using the Arteza pencils. I didn't like using them. I had to keep sharpening them every time. I only used them for line art, and I used the watercolor pencils to like colour everything in, and it didn't really work out. So this is like my second attempt where I'm just using Arteza pencils completely. And the thing is though, is that I was thinking I need to buy some pencils. So I went on Amazon, I saw Arteza, and I was like, Arteza's the good one, right? So in my head, there was something in my head going, there's two pencils here. There's Prismacolor, Arteza. One of them is bad. It's the Prismacolor, right? So I thought Prismacolor was the bad pencils, so I didn't buy them. So I got Arteza. It wasn't until I googled and went on YouTube and was like, hey, how do you use pencils, by the way? Because using pencils is its own techniques and tricks and everything, and I have no idea how to use pencils at all. It's a whole thing. It's like, it's a difference between looking like a kindergarten kid was actually doing your art instead of like an actual grown adult. So I was like, I want to make mine actually look like an grown-ass person who's a professional artist. Well, not pro, but to me, I've been drawing for a while. It's like I knew what I was doing, so I kind of went on YouTube and I typed in Arteza, and all of the search results was just people responding to Arteza pencils and going, why you should not buy Arteza, why you should not buy this product, why Arteza is the worst product ever, why you should not have it. And I'm sitting here like, shit. So I'm stuck with these pencils, so I started using them, and I was also using Arteza paper. So I'm pretty much reviewing both the sketchbook and the pencils at the same time to see how well they work with each other and which one's better. So I'll just say right off the bat, Arteza sketchbooks are really good. Like, they're actually good for like mixed media, because I live in the UK, and when it comes to sketchbooks, our sketchbooks are a bit inconsistent. So even though everything says it's mixed media, it doesn't really mean it's mixed media. Some mixed media sketchbooks work better with watercolors, some work better with markers, some work better with Posca pens, but there's rarely any type of mixed media books that actually works with all three very well. While Arteza is really good as a mixed media book because it works well with painting and markers, etc. It's actually a really good book, sketchbooks and everything. But the problem is that there's some kinks where there's just moments where I use I kind of try to use pens, marker, etc. And when I lay something down, it doesn't go the way I want it to. So it kind of feels like Russian roulette. So 1 minute the colours will go down nice, or they'll sometimes go down darker than what you're supposed to. Posca pen or markers or even paint end up rubbing off on the other side of the paper. So Arteza's good. For me, I would personally use these all the time, but I'm still in the search for a good sketchbook, so I would say that they're pretty much like an 8 out of 10. But yeah, it's like I do recommend these, but it's like, because I've used so many other sketchbooks before, I've used my watercolors to the point where I know how they're supposed to act and respond. I know when something's going right in a sketchbook and when something's not right. And so if there's any beginners, they wouldn't know, and they'll just assume that, oh, is watercolour supposed to go muddy or really dark all of a sudden, even though the next page it looks really light for some reason. It's like artists will probably like be put off paints like wash or something else because it wasn't reacting the way like the paints are supposed to. So it gets to the point where it's like paint would be better on other paper, well, on some things they just don't react the way you want them to, which is why I'm giving it a solid 8 instead of a 10 out of 10. But if it wasn't for that, I would have loved the books. Pencils, on the other hand, I don't know if it's just me and I don't like pencils or if it's just these type of pencils, but to be fair, they do work. Like, they get the technique done, everything's fine. The only thing that gets me is the skin colour. Like, if you have blonde hair, then I don't know what kind of pencil to use to make it look like a skin tone and everything. Other than that though, the layout on the paper right, the techniques I was trying to use, I actually used them and everything. And I learned something new. It turns out once you actually layer and put all your pencils together and do a gradient and like lay them all on top, you use a white pencil, and that's what gets rid of all the little white dotty bits and makes it look smooth. And I was like, I did not know this, so thank you TikTok for telling me that, because I didn't know that, and I'm just learning new things. So yeah. Other than that though, the sketchbook worked well. The pencil sketch for the first time actually was really bold and vibrant and very opaque, and I wasn't a huge fan of pencils, but Arteza's like a really good startup for it. And I know people online, especially in the US, would probably turn around and go, you wasted your money because with Arteza it's like it wouldn't work well, or it'll be better if you just bought like cheap pencils. But the thing is, my house is full of cheap pencils, which is why I don't like using pencils, because in the UK our pencils, our ballpoint pens, and even our sketchbooks are pretty much shit. Like, you can't just go to a dollar store here or Poundland here and just buy a random book and expect it to work as well as everyone else online. Which is why, like, for us, like, things like this will work better. But it just depends on the area where you live in the UK, at least, because I bet some people probably disagree with me on this, which is why I'm saying it's not an official review, because, I don't know, it's like every time I try to do review stuff, people turn around and, like, disagree, and it's like, it's my review, it's my opinion, this is what I think. I do like the Arteza pencils. And yeah, I think I'll probably use them again. The only thing I got pissed off with the Arteza pencils though was when I bought them. There's a little sample thing that tells you exactly what colour's what. Like, it says it's white, it's peacock blue, etc. Well, it was on a list of like the gradient of like the colour all the way from yellow into a rainbow all the way to like black near the end. But when I got them, they weren't ordered, so I had to take all the pencils out and then rearrange them for myself so I could easily pick them up and find them. I was so frustrated. I was like, ugh. And I found myself already using the red over and over again. So now I understand why TikTok's like, you have all these pencils that they use. And have you noticed how the red pencil in every art TikTok is always like a little stub while the rest of the pencils are really long? And it's like, red is just the most used colour, and I never even realised until I myself started using it. I was like, oh wow. So yeah, I'm actually really happy with how this turned out, and for my first pencil sketch and everything, I would actually think that Arteza was really good. So yeah, it's like, I might start using Arteza from now on. The only things I haven't used in Arteza was pretty much like watercolour paints or acrylic paints and that, and since I have such a bad experience with acrylic painting, other than the fact that it's full of plastic, it's bad for the environment, so yeah, and you can't really dispose of it. I really hate buying acrylic paint just for that reason. But there is one colour that I really want. So if there's an Arteza colour for turquoise, I will buy it just to see how it works well. And if it works as good, because I'm starting to trust Arteza, then maybe. But yeah, it's like, so far I'm actually really impressed with what it is so far. And I've seen like tons of people online, but I feel like the people online who say they hate Arteza probably are the ones who are professionals. Because I will not say that these are definitely for the pros. I can tell that these aren't really that great, and when I try to sharpen them to keep them at a certain point, they crumble to dust like completely, and so I end up having to resharpen the whole thing all over again. So it's like consistent sharpening these pencils just to draw a thin opaque line, and that's frustrating. But other than that though, I really like these pencils and this sketchbook. So yeah, that's pretty much my review. Feels really short, but I bet I've been talking for ages. So yeah, I hope you guys like this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!